The 6 billion refers to investment and also offsets. Would you agree?
It's a part of it, a part of the figure of 27 billion.
Let's proceed, Deputy Minister. I would like to draw attention to page 190, paragraph 5.4.16. And I would like to read it to you. I wish this minute was made part of your statement. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Hence, we have to deal with it the way we are dealing with it. May I take the liberty to read it? The Minister said that the final decision will not be taken by the Secretary for Defence and his counterpart in the Department of Finance. Now, did you agree with the Minister?
Yes.
Let's read further. It is decision that will be taken by higher authority. When he had raised the question of Defence not being able to find the funds from its own budget for the acquisitions, the response was that we should not look at our own budget. That problem will be solved by government. The Minister was realistic, am I right?
Very. He's referring to the higher authority, government.
What informed the Minister? Do you have an idea to think this way? And I'm not saying go into the mind of the Minister. Remember, you testified to the Commission that you assume certain functions within the department. The Minister took you into his confidence. You were fortunate to have a good relationship with the Minister. And it has become common cause that where you assume functions, you'd assume them. Where you'd act, you'd act. Now, that has become common cause. Now, I would like to know, were you aware what made the Minister to come with what appears to be this realistic approach?
I would say it was common cause that there were discussions between the Minister and other cabinet ministers concerning how we would be able to afford the equipment that we were going to require for a modern, up-to-date defence force. This was common cause. And the Minister had his discussions with such as the Minister of Finance, Minister of Trade and Industry, and others, including President Mandela, who made reference in a speech to the need for a modern defence force and for procurement.
Now, what about the Minister and the Deputy Minister of Defence? In as far as this aspect is concerned, you are telling us about the Minister of Defence with his colleagues in other departments and President Mandela. What about the Minister and the Deputy Minister of Defence?
Well, of course, the same applies. And if I might, Commissioner, this goes back to the Transitional Council pre-94 election, when there was a sub-council on defence that on Friday, sir, I made reference to. Already then, there were discussions about the future defence force, the future arms industry in South Africa. This is why I say it's common cause. There's no secret about the fact that the Minister would be raising the question of other forms, off-budget forms, of finding the funds for the kind of investment that we anticipated would be required.
Let's proceed on, Deputy Minister. Paragraph 5.4.17, page 190. May I take the liberty to read it? We're still on page 190, paragraph 5.4.17. May I take the liberty to read it to you? The Minister said, we must not be in a hurry, and it is wrong for us to let people know that we cannot pay for the packages. What informed the Minister's thinking here?
Well, I come back to the fact of the 6 billion, that would be such a shortfall. And in terms of wrong for us to let people know that we cannot pay for the packages is his feeling from some of the statements made that there would be a huge headache in acquiring the kind of funds to pay for the packages. And I would say people here, and again I'm trying to recollect or interpret, would be the business people, the parties, the governments abroad who we would wish to have dealings with and who are already knocking on our door.
Deputy Minister, it appears that the Minister has always been realistic because has always been realistic, and I'll tell you why. Minister Owen in paragraph 5.4.3, we're not going back there, it's common cause now, has always been saying that we should go ahead with the packages, we stood a good chance of succeeding. The Minister in paragraph 5.4.9 says it's not only about Minister Owen alone. He says that the Deputy President is also involved because he was concerned about this estimate of 26 billion. But the Minister becomes more realistic again in this paragraph. Let's read further. Government has a strategy. It is more of business strategy. And it is why there is so much. I beg your pardon. My eyesight is struggling. I beg your pardon, esteemed commissioners. My eyesight is struggling. Paragraph 5.4.17. I'm reading a clear page. Let me start afresh. Government has a strategy. It is more of a business strategy. And that is why there is so much emphasis on a business plan. If the business plan is not attractive, there will be no funding. What was the minister visualizing here? Was he thinking, do you have an idea? Have you discussed with him? It appears that he had some vision.
Yes, I agree. He had a vision, and that business plan would relate, commissioners, to the fact that we would be perfectly aware that on defence budget terms, there would be shortfall in the purchase of the envisaged equipment, and that therefore the business plan is something much broader. It refers to government partnerships, strategic partnerships, business plans with the companies concerned, how best to acquire the best financial arrangements for such deals and so on. This would be the business plan. The offset issues for defence and national industrial participation. So it's a very big issue, and this is why he's obviously so concerned that we needed to discuss this in a very judicious internal way. So you're perfectly correct. And, although I can't remember detail, I certainly can remember the context of all this. I agree.
We also know that what has become common cause, I'm not going to take you back to that part, is that the minister was alive to the fact that in as far as the budget of these capabilities is concerned, it was not going to be funded from the department. Am I right?
That is correct, sir.
Let's go to page 191. We're not going to deal with each and every aspect there. We'll just take only the relevant ones because we have to conclude this minute. I would like to take you to paragraph 5.4.19. Page 191, paragraph 5.4.19. Now remember, it's before the defense review was being approved and deliberations are going on. This is very critical. This is during February 1998. The defense review gets approved in April 1998. Deliberations are going on. May I take the liberty to read it? The Deputy Minister, yourself, pointed out that the department was saying, in fact, that we can find half, 1.4 billion per year, in 2 or 3 years' time. Now, would you say that the department had no money?
It had funds. There was a budget for the all-round defence needs. But out of that, for capital acquisition, the amount was 1.4 billion. I think that's self-evident. What that then means, that this would be half, as I say here, of what would be required.
Now, to be precise, what informed this position which has been espoused by the Deputy Minister? Is it because there was no precise budget for the SDPPs, or there was no overall budget adequate within the department to cater for the SDPPs and the other activities of the Department of Defence?
Well, it would be the latter, I would think.
Thank you. Let's read on. The whole question is very political and flexible. In council, it can be said that defense might find itself in a situation where government might say they cannot help fund the packages, but we should not worry ourselves with such a possibility. We must just keep it in mind. In the President's speech on 6 February 1998, he said that government can now go forward in terms of the acquisition plan. What is going for us is that if government finds the business plan favorable and they accept it, we will be in the favorable position of government assisting us with the package deal. It appears that there was some vision in a form of a business plan that was being espoused. Now, is it the same business plan that you're talking about, that the minister talked about? Remember, I referred you to paragraph 5.4.17, where the minister was talking about the business plan.
Agreed, sir.
And towards the end, there are various ways in which government can assist, and one is increasing the budget. Now, was it your view, or was it the minister's view, or was it all the minister's views?
Well, that's really hypothetical. The fact that one way is increasing the budget. Any minister's dream, sir, is that government will increase the budget for education, for health, for defence. That would have been the easiest solution. And we weren't saying it was not possible. Maybe we could still, through the minister in cabinet, persuade. But in general, we were feeling we needed the vision that you referred to, sir, the business plan and so on.
Now, I ask you a compound question. I'm going to break it down. There are various ways in which government can assist. One is increasing the budget. Now, was this the Deputy Minister's view? Of course, am I right?
Yes, but it would be in keeping with Minister Modisi, for sure.
And other ministers?
Well, it's hypothetically the case. And one is trying to, it's not even possible to remember, but it's the kind of thing that an Alec Irwin would say, well, you know, guys, maybe we can get government to provide a bigger budget. It's a manner of speaking, what I'm saying here.
Now, am I right to say up to so far, deliberations on the SDPPs were being considered, views were being expressed, visions were coming in, but there was no budget?
I think we've made the point, I agree. There was not sufficient budget, not that there was no budget.
Paragraph 5.4.23, we are completing now at the bottom. The Deputy Minister felt there was little that can be done about
Oh. Ile yakabantu uculo manje. Oh, foi tão tremendo. Morning, how are you, sir? Lekker. Oh, enough. Hello? Hi. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Hey, yeah. How's it? Okay, bye. Yeah, they've started. They started at 8:30. Sakhuluma nge-TB lapha. Bathi le TB ilimaza abantu. How was it? All right.
No,